Shalom everybody, and you're welcome to the Shabbat of this morning. Yes, we have two parashot or double parasha this morning, and one is Behar and the other one is Bechukotai. Right? Behar meaning on or in the mountain. It depends on the way you can say. You can say on the mountain, or you can say in the mountain. You can say, oh, that is not grammatically correct. How can you be in the mountain, right? But you remember that God called Moshe and he said, come to see me on the mountain, right? And he went onto the mountain. But there was a time that God was telling him, now I'm going to do what? Pass before you. Go and hide inside the mountain. In the mountain. He said there was a cave down there. Hide it there, and I will let my face, I will let my glory to pass before you. And the other one is Bechukotai, which means the statutes and the regulations of the living God. These two parashot are very, very. There's a lot of there's a lot of like Mitzvos, a lot of commandments that we have in them. But I subtitle it. The subtitle of this morning is one requester, one giver, one receiver. It takes three to combine. One requester, the one that requests. One giver, the one that gives. And one receiver, one that receives. And all this is about the laws of Rahamim. It's about the law of compassion, of mercy. Right? The first parasha of this week is replete with Mitzvos that completely rely on having emumah, that means belief, and bitachon, which means to trust, to have faith, to trust, to have security in the Holy One, blessed be He. The challenge to many of the following Mitzvot is that they go against the natural instinct of a man. These laws that God is giving us in these books that I said we should not do, technically, if you look at it, they go against our natural instinct as a human being, right? And our normal way of thinking, it goes against it. But you need to have emumah and bitachon. You need to have trust. You need to have belief. You need to believe and trust. You have to have faith in God for these laws to come to pass in your life. But if you don't have belief, you continue to make that mistake every time. Here are just a few examples of those mitzvos which emphasize that we totally rely on God so that we will be rewarded in a greater ways, not only in the next world, no, but even immediately in this present world. Because many people say, okay, I'm doing all my, I'm reading the Torah, I'm living the life of the Torah because I want to make the world to come. No. Everything that you do, the Holy One, blessed be He, will continue to reward you from this world to the next world. Right? So let's look at some examples of these laws, of these mitzvot that God commanded us in today a parashah. That is saying that we need to have emumah and bitachon for us to be able to get this goody from Him. He said, number one of this, not to perform work on the land during the Shemita years. What is the Shemita? The 7th year. He said, don't work, right? No work. The land shall have Shabbaton. You see, I want us to always see the Torah as this. The Torah, remember I always use the example, the Torah is a ripple. In Torah, there's a ripple effect. When you drop a stone, right, you see the ripple effect. God started the Shabbat with who? With a man. With us, right? Thou shalt not do this. A man shall keep the Shabbat. And now what is God? God extends that the same Shabbat to what? To the slave, to the servant. And God, they are all what? Human beings, right? And then God took it from there to the animals. He extended it to the animal because the animals need to rise too. And then God is not extending the same Shabbat to the land. Can you see the people? If it's like a chain reaction, because God is telling us the land is you, because you are from the land. If the land produces garbage and you eat garbage, you are garbage. You are what you eat, because the land produce what you eat. So if the land is not producing, and then we come to begin to force the land to produce, right? We put chemical fertilizer, all those things, and then when some people are eating and begin to have cancer, don't complain, right? Because the Lord God has said this is the best way to farm. This is the best way to do the land. This is the best way to treat the land. When you leave the land for 1 year, you can take the fruit of it, but the one that put on the land, they replenish the land. Remember, there are some organisms that are in the land. They need to do or replenish too. It is not every time produce. If you use even though your car, you use it too much and you don't maintain it, it will break down. How much more the natural world? We have, as the children of God, has to maintain it. And the Holy One, blessed be He, is giving us advice, is teaching us on how to maintain them. The second kind of mitzvot here is this: not to perform work on the vineyard during the Shemita. The third one, not to harvest the produce during the Shemita as normally done in the other years. Leave them. Let them replenish the earth. Let the earthworm, let them eat too. Because when the earthworm eats, it nourishes the earth, it produces nitrogen, all those things that make the soil to become more fertile. And when you come and plant the next year, beautiful, everything grow nice, wonderful, I can eat better things. So these things are what God, the Holy One, blessed be He, is teaching us. He said not to harvest the grapes of one's vineyard as normally done in the other years, but rather to treat them, the vineyard, like Hefker, as though it is ownerless. As if that vineyard, that farm, does not belong to you, because the land is God. Right? We are just, what God is telling us here is, don't attach yourself too much to the physical. Yes, I gave them to you. You are a supervisor of the land. The land is not yours. The land is mine. So that's why I say you shall not sell the land. No, you cannot talk about that and sell the land forever. No, you are a supervisor in the land. You just take control of it, supervise it, make it good. But it is mine, God said. So it continues. He said, not to work the land during the Yovel, during the Jubilee year, the year of Jubilee. Again, don't do that. Not to harvest the produce during the Yovel, as usually done on the other years, but rather to treat it like Hefker, like it is ownerless, as if it is not mine. Not to harvest the fruit of one orchard during the Yovel, as normally done in the other years. Not to cheat someone in business, not to sell a field in Eretz Yisrael forever. You can't do that. For the land does not belong to you, but to God. Not to change the zone or allotment of the outskirts of the Levite city, and not to lend money with interest. All these things go against human instinct, as we can see. Because we as a human being, we have greed, right? We want more. Yes. But God is saying, if you believe in me, if you trust me to produce to give you your bread, I'm telling you I will do it 10 times. Just trust me for what I am doing. This one, trust me on it. If I go against your instinct, but it is better for you. Remember, God does not eat our food. God is not a mortal, right? God is not matter that eats human food. No, God does not eat human food. All these mitzvot, all these laws that God is giving us here is for you and for me. It's for us so that we can live a good life, long life, with what? With good health. So you don't want to eat. You don't want to live a long life with pain, right? You don't want to be in the old people's home like this, all with painkiller, giving you painkiller all your life, or every time they drag you to the operation table to remove all your organs one by one. Oh, this one is infected with cancer, they remove it. This one is infected with cancer. By the time you finish, all your organ is gone, and you are dead, right? So this law is for me and for you, for us to be able to eat good food live good life and live in peace, long life. He said, and God said, I will go to give them long life on the land if they keep these rules. If you keep, you see, those people that call themselves the big guys, right? They give a lot of money to scientists to produce all kinds of GMO food, right? But believe you me and trust me, they put all those investments to those to give those scientists to do those genetic modified food, but they don't eat it. They don't eat it. They eat natural food because they understand the problem of the genetic food. But for them, it's business. They say, oh, it's nothing personal, it's business, right? For them, it's business. For the people, let's feed the people. The people have to be fed. Okay, so let's give them this genetic food that is not tested, and nobody knows the generational effect that is going to come. So we need to understand this. I know natural food is expensive, but it's better for me to eat twice good food in a day than to eat 10 times in a day that at the end it's accumulating in your system. And then when the problem comes, don't come and cry, because all this money that you say you are saving, at the end you give it to the doctors, and the doctor will wipe all the money away from you. So the common thread among all these mitzvot is that a person feels he works for it, that a person feels he earns it, and shouldn't have to do what? Shouldn't have to give it away. Towards the end of the section, the Torah warned in Vayikra 25 verse 18, keep my decrees and safeguard my laws. If you keep these decrees, you will live in the land securely. But as Rashi clearly indicates or explains, because of this transgression, the laws of the rest of years, Israel was exiled. As it is written later in Vayikra 26 verse 34, then shall the land be paid as Sabbath, and repay her Sabbath. The 70 years of the Babylonian exile correspond to the 70 rest years which were not observed. But no matter how bad God's children may act, our Father in heaven figures out a way to rejoin his children and never abandon them, as can be realized from the following illustration. Yes, we can see that we went to Babylonian exile for 70 years, right? Because of our stupidity and stubbornness. Remember, God said, you shall keep the Shabbatical years. On that 70 years, on the 50th year, you shall proclaim what? Freedom for all men, right? Every slave has to be set free in the land. Everybody shall return to their ancestral home, ancestral heritage. For no one to be uprooted from his root. You shall stay in your root. The Levite, Yehudim, Shimon, Ishaka, Dan, Ephraim, Manasseh. Everybody on their own. That is a reason. I'm telling us every time. That's a reason God made them 12. He's God can make them one if you want, right? He can do whatever he wants. But he said, no, I'm going to make them 12. Why? What purpose? I don't know. He is the one that knows. But he made them 12. I said everybody must remain in their ancestral heritage. You cannot uproot them. You cannot destroy the lineage. It's all about the bloodline. You shall not destroy their bloodline. Everybody is specific. Everybody is specific. That's the way the Holy One said he arranged it. And we shall take care of them. But we refuse to do that. Because we've been warned. Right? God has warned us to do this Shabbatical year. But if the word goes here, comes out here, we think that God is stupid. Right? God doesn't look. He doesn't look. Don't worry. I can do whatever I want. But God is counting them down. Until when the cup is full, and God said the judgment has come. And now, begin to shake. But God has warned you before. God has shown you the path. Why don't you want to walk the path? And when you walk into another place and you enter into the ditch, it begins to cry. When you've been warned ahead of time. right? So we can see that these people, they let the people go, and they went back and take them back again. They freed the people, the slaves, they freed them, and they went back again and bring back the slave again. That is wickedness before God. Remember, all men are made in the image of God. We are one's brother. So the 70 years of exile, as Sage is telling us, correspond to the 70 years that we refuse to obey the sabbatical years. The Torah states in Vayikra chapter 25 verse 25 is telling us here, if your brother become impoverished and sell some of his hereditary land, a close relative can come and redeem what his kinsmen has sold. Rabbi Zalman, in his commentary in Azamim La Torah, point out that the word ki yamish ayeha, it repeats 3 times, and he said in verse 35 and verse 39, he explained the reason for the 3 instances is that each deal with 3 different situations in which a person might find himself to be impoverished. The Torah is teaching us what is called the Eretz, that means the way of the land. The Eretz, we mean the way of the land, regarding how a relative, a brother, or meaning a fellow Hebrew shall react and treat another Hebrew in need. God said, when a man becomes poor, impoverished, how can a Hebrew person become poor? Said he told us in different ways that a Hebrew man can become poor in one of these most instances. If he doesn't have a land. A man that has no land becomes poor. Why? Because he cannot sow, he cannot reap. When you have a land, you can farm, no? You can plant, no? You can take all those products, no? And you can do what? Sell them and make money for yourself. But if you don't have anything, how can you do? You become poor. So the source of our wealth is the land. The source of our wealth is the land. That's what God is saying. And so, therefore, if a man becomes poor, maybe for example, he was sick, right? And he needs money to treat himself and doesn't have the money. He takes his land and sell it, right? To make money to cure himself. God is saying here, for if his brother knows about this, his brother shall do what? Shall come and rescue him, redeem him. He shall redeem that land. If the person sells the land and the creditor comes, the bank, say, okay, your brother took money, so amount. So, and he, as a guarantee, he put his land as a guarantee, right? So we need to come and take the land. The Torah says, if the brother knows, he has to go and redeem the land. Why? It's rachami, it's mercy, it's compassion. Because you know your brother is in need. You don't have to wait for your brother to come and say, please. No. The Torah is saying, you shall not do that. Don't be proud. Okay, if he doesn't come, I won't assist, I won't help. Once you know, if you don't know, it's different. If you have no idea, it's different. Let's say your brother is in Toronto and you are in Montreal, you don't know what is going on. That's different. But if you had the news and you understand and you know that this is what is going on, you will not wait for your brother to come and start leaning down begging you. You shall surely redeem the land, because the land is the family name. First, if your king becomes impoverished, he is still your brother. Remember that. Blood is thicker than water. Remember that. And you should not embarrass him. Don't allow him to come and start begging. Hey, please, that embarrass me. I'm embarrassing him. One might think, for example, that if he did not come to ask for help, but you notice that he is selling his land, or the land has been sold, you shall step up and redeem that land. You shall help him. Don't wait for him to come and start begging you. Don't wait for him to come and embarrass himself before you. Don't say, oh, his pride doesn't want to come and beg. No. You are not him. Remember, your knowledge in the Torah is higher than him. It's like Joseph and his brothers. Oh yeah, this dreamer, let's kill him. But the same dreamer will be the one who goes to save you and your descendants in years to come. You see, they don't see the mosaic. They are too close, they don't understand. Even though Joseph was the smallest or the youngest among them, but his mind was the mind of a 2,000 years old man. While those ones who are elders, their mind is the mind of a 2 years old. They don't see. And so therefore, we need to understand this, that we should not embarrass our brothers, our king, the person that God is asking us to help. Come, help him, redeem it. Secondly, if he loses the ability to support himself also, and does not have any more land to sell, and you shall come to his aid, because at that time he is still your brother. That's what the Torah is telling us. Lastly, even if he is not your relative by definition, for example, it's not a blood brother, but it's a Hebrew man. Remember, even though it's not immediately your immediate brother, but it's a Hebrew man, and you shall surely step in and help, as a Hebrew person is in trouble like you. And it goes further. He said, even though if a foreigner living in Israel, he is also considered your own brother. If it's a foreigner, if it's a Moabite, if it's a Canaanite, but he has come to take the God of Israel as his God and is living among God as an Israelite, you shall do equally, because he is your brother. And God is telling us here, it is not by what? It is not by the blood, but that all human race is what? A man. God created every human being by himself. And so, he's using Israel as an example to bring the whole nation back unto himself. That's what God is telling us. Even though that foreigner is still your brother, even to the extent he needs to sell himself as a slave, and you buy him and now his master, he is still considered your brother. Perhaps another fantastic lesson and insight is the phrase, when opportunity strikes, open the door. This notion only comes to remind us of the Hazar have already said. What Hazar have already said, particularly with regard to this situation. The word that we talk about, the word emerge, which means with you in English, teaches us that when a poor person is with you, or when the poor person is with you, it is because the Holy One, blessed be He, has sent him to you. It is not the human being who is making the request. No, it is not that poor man that is making the request. Remember that. No, it's not that. It's not the one. It is God asking you to give, because God has given you double. It is not that poor. Don't look at it that it is that poor man that comes and say, "Please give me." No. See it that it is the Holy One, blessed be He, that is requesting you to give to that poor man, because he has blessed you with double blessing. It is not the human being who is making the request. It is the Holy One asking you to do what? To give. The place to deposit or to give it to is the person who comes to see you. This is another example where there are three partners involved. Remember, God, who is making the request. Second, the wealthy man or the wealthy individual who is doing the giving. And the third, the poor man who is taking. That is three here. So it is God that is directing him unto you for you to fulfill what he has commanded you to do. We pray the Holy One, blessed be He, bless us all with twofold blessings, with enough so that we will never need, and when blessed with plenty, to have the foresight to give when the Holy One asks us to do what? To give. When God is sending a poor man, he said, our sages always tell us that the poor man is created for the rich man. And the rich man is created for the poor man. That's the way it is. Everything is balanced. So if you are wealthy and you are rich, it's not for you. No. It is for that poor man by your side. It is about that poor man who is living next to you to help, to assist. And if a poor man, don't envy the man that is super rich. God, no. God has created him to help you. You should be happy. Help you to bring you up. But I understand the world that we live in. You know, we are grieving as a human being. But God is saying it shouldn't be like that. Right? Remember, it is one that requests. The requester, who is God, who requests. The one that gives is the rich man, and the one that receives is the poor man. So we are all here. It's all about the law of mercy. If you are merciful, you will be merciful. If you are merciful to a what? To a man, you will be merciful to the animal. If you are merciful to the animal, you will be merciful unto the land. Because it's all connected. There is no separation here. It's all holistic. When we understand it in the holistic way, we will know that actually it makes sense. Right? So please, let us think about this and let us walk towards this. Torah is work. As we end the book of Vayikra, we said, Hazai, Bene, Hazai. Be strong, and may we be strengthened. May God bless us and keep us and strengthen us and favor us, and next week we'll come to a new Sefer Bar Mitzvah. Shabbat Shalom.